Hi folks, welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. Not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Welcome back from Fox News. Texas Democrats skipping town once again as legislature reconsiders GOP voting bills. Now, it's funny, if you go on NBCnews.com, it says, as the GOP legislators want to vote on restricting voting laws. You know, before we get started here, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could share this video. I'm getting killed by the algorithm. I'm getting shadow banned really bad, and I would personally appreciate it. Whether you agree with me or not on a particular episode, or any agree with me at all on anything, I think censorship is evil, frankly. I think they're breaking the law. I don't have the resources, and even the multimillionaires don't have the resources, but slowly over time, we can overcome this. Small channels like mine want to grow. The guys that are huge now, like Tim Pool and Steven Crowder and all of them, granted, I might not do great productions like they do, but they all started out somewhere. Everybody starts out small. Even Joe Rogan started out with a couple of guys just getting goofy. It's the way it is. Even Steve Bezos, that piece of crap, started out small. All I want is an opportunity to show what I can do. And if people enjoy my content, so be it. Just give me a fair shake. That's all I ask. So please share this video if you can. Democrats in the House, Texas House of Representatives, once again are fleeing the state in a second bid to prevent the Republican majorities in the legislature to pass a controversial GOP-sponsored elections bill to strengthen voting access rules. It's not controversial. It's normal. The vast majority, well, you know, they always use European countries as a standard bearer for the West. Okay. The vast majority, like 90% of European countries, one, do not have mass unsolicited mail-in ballots sent, and two is they have voter ID. It's crazy. I went to switch out my cell phone. I had an old Android I've had for years. I had to show my ID. Some things at the drugstore you buy, some cough medicines or whatever, you got to show an ID. You get on a plane, you got to show an ID. You guys know the drill. It's bullshit, and it's ridiculous. The Democrat lawmakers aim to fly to Washington, D.C. on Monday, a source with knowledge of the plans confirmed to Fox News, in order to deny the quorum needed in the House to pass the voting measures. Republicans argue the bill would provide greater election security, while Democrats charge it would suppress voter turnout of minorities. It shouldn't be as easy as get your lazy ass out of a chair, sitting there in your underwear at your kitchen table, filling out your election, and walk the 10 feet to your mailbox, or have somebody pick it up for you. No. Voting is a sacred right. It's a constitutional right. But you got to take it seriously. It's important. It shouldn't be as easy as filling it out at your kitchen table and not walking 10 feet. It's ridiculous. How's that go? With service comes citizenship. Everybody's got a stake in the game, at least theoretically. That stake is your responsibility. Yeah, it's suppressing the vote of people that are too lazy to vote, low information voters, and people that can unlawfully vote. That's not suppression. That's just intelligence. Under Texas law, the Democratic lawmakers would face arrest by taking flight. Good. You know what? I hope they do. I like Governor Abbott. I really do. But he's got to grow a set of balls. He's got to grow a set. You should take his National Guard from the state of Texas and send them down to the border. And that way the Florida National Guard is going there as well, and put them under the control of the Texas governor. The states have the power. The states created the federal government. It's not the other way around. The states are sovereign. It's always been that way. Grow a set. I like you a lot, Governor Abbott. I do. But you got to grow a set of balls. You got to enforce the law. Imagine that. Texas Democrats' decision to break a quorum of the Texas legislature and abandon the Texas state capitol inflicts harm on every Texan who elected them to serve. Yeah, it all sounds great, Governor Abbott. Do something. Go to Washington, D.C. I guess they were going to go to West Virginia and somewhere else. I think it was Arizona. But being there, both Republican states with Republican governors, they were afraid that they would assist them in bringing them back to Texas. So they went to D.C. instead. Good. Send representatives from D.C. Arrest these people. Force them to come back. As they fly across the country on cushy private planes, they leave undone issues that can help their districts in our state. Yeah, that's the political rhetoric part. Now comes the action part. Come on, Governor Abbott, really. I watched Alan West on Tim Pool tonight, and he's primarying Governor Abbott. Governor, you got to grow a set of balls. These include issues like property tax relief, funding to support sheriffs and law enforcement in high crime areas, funding for children in foster care, and funding for retired teachers. Now, that's what you put out to the general public. That way you get public opinion to turn the Democrats. I get how the game is played. I understand. They're breaking Texas law. Go find their asses, handcuff them, and bring them in. They took an oath when they went to the Texas state legislature, and they broke their oath. The bill on last week by the state House Republicans would create new ID requirements for voting by mail, especially for voting by mail. Especially. I used to be an election inspector. I used to sit at the tables years ago in upstate New York when I was a city council member. It's easier in person to tell if the person's voting unlawfully, i.e., you look on their date of birth and you look at them and there's a 30-year gap between how they look and when their birthday. There's a few things you can do to kind of filter out the illegality. But by mail, there is none. And ban drive-through and overnight early voting. Absolutely. Which were used during the 2020 elections in the Democratic strongholds of Harris County, which includes Houston, the state's largest city. You Democrats don't get it. You're morons. Between teaching ideology of critical race theory in schools to little kids, this voting nonsense, that's what killed Donald Trump in the last election. White, college-educated, suburban voters, especially the women. It's ridiculous to me. You're pissing them off. It's like you don't want to win. I don't want you to either, but, you know, at least use some intelligence. Unlike the bill from the regular session, the new proposed legislation would not ban Sunday morning voting, which is Sunday before the election, which was heavily criticized for unfairly targeting black voters who cast ballots through Souls to the Polls efforts coordinated by churches. What? Are you kidding me? I don't mean to be mean. I really don't. This has nothing to do with color. The vote on a Sunday, and most people in Texas are religious in the South. They go to church religiously every Sunday. You can't take another 15 minutes, a half an hour while you're already out to go vote. Honestly, are you that freaking lazy? No, but usually religious people are a little more conservative. They make time to vote. Sunday's the perfect day. They're not banning it. They just can't collect them all. And that way they control what goes through and what gets sent in. How interesting. While grabbing the spotlight, the elections bill is far from the only thing on the agenda for the special session, which was called by three-term Governor Greg Abbott and kicked off on Thursday. The governor last Wednesday outlined what the Republican-controlled legislature will debate during the session, which can last up to 30 days. I'm sure that Texas has their own rules. Besides the election bill, issues on the docket include bail overhaul, border security, social media censorship, legislative branch funding, family violence prevention, limiting transgender students' access to school sports, i.e., if you're a biological male and you're trans, you can't play in girls and women's sports. Duh. Abortion-inducing drugs, additional payments for retired Texas teachers, critical race theory, and budgeting issues. Don't fall in that trap, guys. Don't fall in that trap that we're going to ban you teaching critical race theories in our schools, because technically they're not doing it now. It's identitarianism. They're teaching the ideology of critical race theory without having it properly introduced. It's a trick, and they're so slimy and slick. If you want to teach critical race theory as a course in college, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. That's fine. There's weirder courses. I mean, there's Ben Shapiro kids around lesbian dance theory. I think gender studies is effing ridiculous, but they have courses all over the schools. All right, you want to have a course in CRT? Fine, go ahead. But you can't have a course for kids. What they do is they know this. And they can say, we don't have a course or teach CRT in our public schools. And technically they're right. But what they do is they take the ideology of CRT, which is identitarianism, and filter it down into the curriculum. It's evil and it's BS. But the battle over the elections bill is taking center stage as Texas tries to join more than 15 other states where Republicans control the state government and have passed tightening voter access rules. It's not tightening. You know, it's funny how the Time magazine article last year called the Democrats' effort in 2020 fortifying the vote. Yeah, okay. Fortifying what? Among those states that are the key election battlegrounds of Arizona, Florida, and Georgia. The push has been fueled in part by former President Donald Trump's repeated unsubstantiated claims that the 2020 presidential election was rigged and stolen. I'm not going to comment. I can't comment on that because this is YouTube and this will be pulled down. I mean, even Tim Pool's got over, between his 3 channels, over 3 million subscribers. He can't comment on it either, so I got no shot at all. Especially that I'm being shadow banned so badly. All I want to do is try to influence people to think for themselves. I'm not trying to influence them on what to think, unlike the other side. And I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let YouTube just destroy me. I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I'm learning as I go along. At the beginning, my episodes weren't that polished. They're getting better. I've got a long ways to go. I just sold my business in end of April. I want to do this on a full-time basis. I'm not going to let them stop me. It's just amazing to me. They pulled this before, I guess, a few years back, the Democrats in Texas. So we just won't show up. Like little kids, I'll take my toys and I'll go home. It's amazing to me because there's a lot at stake and they know it. They know it. They know they're in a no-win situation. They see the boulder hanging over their head, the Democrats, and they know people are fighting back. Those of you that watch the Hunger Games, and I'm a big fan of the Hunger Games, the books as well as the movies, if you watch one of the scenes where Katniss goes on a tour, a victory tour for the victors, and she comes back and she's talking to her boyfriend, Gale, and things are going on in the districts because they're restricted. They have censored media. That sounds familiar. In a totalitarian state. Anyway, thinks that the president is bluffing with some of the threats he has against them. And he says, maybe they're just bluffing. He goes, no, they're not bluffing, Katniss says. That was going on in the districts. And he says, what's going on? And she hems and haws. What's going on? He says, the people are getting mowed down by peacekeepers. But they're what, he says? They're fighting back. And he went, they're fighting back. It's starting. Well, the same thing is happening here in this country, just without the violence, except, of course, the riots of last year. People are starting to wake up. They're fighting back. Those 2 congressional districts along the Rio Grande River in southwest Texas just made the Democrats nauseous. They were like a plus 10 Hillary district, and now they're plus 15 Republican. That's a 25-point swing. That's freaking huge. They see that their power is slipping away, and there's nothing more dangerous than a wounded animal. They will lash out, and they will hurt and kill anything in its way. And this is what these Democrats are like. Pull crap like this is ridiculous. I hope they put it. You know what, Governor Abbott? You know, I don't want to put you down. I really don't. Grow a set of balls, round these people up, and under Texas law, put them in effing jail. They broke the law. We'll see. We'll see. And until next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.